Might be able to get both in.
So where do you want to start? You want to do 114 or
Yeah, there's a 14 on the schedule.
So,
Sounds a good thing.
one thing I would like to do, Bruce, is I think tonight when we go home, I got a couple odds and ends to do on this ordinance that to get us completely square for next week. But I'm going to start renumbering it. So once I get it numbered down, you see like what number that the industrial end falls in. If you can go through and try to, it doesn't have to be perfect, but if you can try to hack together like wherever the numbers are and start working it.
I can keep going from there. I may not be able to format it as good as you do. I've still got an older version of Word, but I'll see what I can.
Yeah, well, I don't care if you really, even if you don't have to have it tucked in, if you just can kind of, just put the paragraphs in, I can number it later, but just kind of get it, if you want to, you can just put in like a symbol, like a bullet point where you think that there should be a paragraph numbered.
I'll get it closer for you.
I'll get the numbers in, if you just bullet point it, it'll be easier for me to number it later, actually, because it'll be less deleting and stuff. If you just bullet in, you know what I mean, so the first
Oh, yeah,
bullet's
yeah,
every
I know.
bullet, so it's like 5 bullets in.
Yep,
Okay.
that's easy.
So, so with regard to project to 14, for these specific project standards, we'll go over the ones we have, and then we had discussed kind of several, back in January a little bit about what to do about potentially any of these methadone / marijuana, etc. clinics. Paul tossed us some stuff the other night. I think I have some in my bag. I have brewers up here. I looked at brewers. It's because it's right next door. So if we put maybe, pretty close, first of all, I don't think that the risk of getting one out here is very high. So
How about somewhere between 0 and 1%?
I don't know. But I mean, it would be good to have something, because what I don't want to do is I don't want to have things just suddenly fall on us, and I don't want to have, a moratorium and go through all that and create a big stir over it. So if we have something, we can work with it. That's kind of the point of it. The other thing is it is sort of a big issue. Portland is trying to get, I think Portland is now makes marijuana legal in the city or something like that, or there's something they're going down there.
They voted for it.
Yeah, they voted for it. And
Portland is legal right now.
Portland is legal?
Yes.
Right, so there's a number of different things going on. I just want to make sure that we get it, addressed up here, because I don't know how fast it's going to come across the state. I don't want to just get caught completely blindsided. At least if it's in there, people can read it and go, that really isn't going to work, and we can work with something that we have as opposed to starting with thin air.
Yeah,
So, anyways.
whether you agree or not, it's the wind of change is coming to this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, So anyway, so we'll start with and basically I'll just tag it at the very last one. I'll add whatever number appears at the end, that's where it's going to appear, this other stuff that we'll talk about in a few minutes. So with the adult business, obviously we never had a chance to test it.
I thought it looks pretty good to me. I'd rather.
Yeah, I think,
back over.
Paula, this adult entertainment ordinance, did we grab this from Brewer too?
The only word I caught out of that was ordinance.
Did we grab the adult entertainment ordinance from Brewer when we did it before?
That sounds like maybe. I'm not sure.
Because they had just done it, because they had just had an adult store move into town, unexpectedly.
That sounds like,
So I think
kind of rings a bell, but
Right.
I wouldn't swear.
yeah, I think that's where you and I figured it out from. So anyway, and kind of the big things I think are like the setbacks.
Okay, definitions have been moved.
Right, so we have to make sure we cover that.
Eric, could you center that a little bit more?
I don't need that.
Thank you.
There we go. So we have those setbacks. I think as it all ended up for these adult businesses, they can only be in the industrial zone.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how
So-
many pages it was, just for the comprehensive.
Now, on that distance, on the, number one, on the very bottom where it says the distance cited, this section, why don't we just go, instead of the edge of the driveway parking area, just go, lots.
Okay, where are you talking? I'm not following it yet.
Just a
On-
site requirement.
On number one, right after A, B, C, D, and E,
Okay,
that right there, the distance shall be measured from the edge of the driveways.
oh, I see. So where were you suggesting?
Lots.
So basically from the lot line. Well, I guess what they were thinking of is, what we were thinking of before, was if the thing was like to the, one side or the other side of the lot. Like if you bought like a 100-acre lot and you tucked it down, on the lower right side, and there's 1,000 feet of road frontage, like,
Yeah, but it's already got it, it can't be within a certain distance of
right,
the
so that's,
lot line.
He should be on his own lot and a long ways away.
yeah, I mean, I don't care which way we do it. Do you guys have a strong feeling either way?
No.
Do you want to move it to the lot lines?
Well, that right there sounds like it's the brewer, it's the city way of writing it.
Okay, so we can just say from property line to property line?
The only
Yeah.
problem
Nearest
is,
property,
again,
said,
the only property that could even be in, because of all the other requirements, is out here, and that's a huge property. And what if it's right out at that edge? Is it really fair to measure, add another 300 or 400 feet on to get to this end?
well, right, if you said lot line to lot line, then actually, yeah, right.
Yeah,
That's actually a good point.
yeah.
Maybe we should just leave it alone.
Yeah, I just got reading that, and I said, yeah, that sounds like a city.
It does sound pretty city-ish.
Well,
Well,
we've
I
already
think it's
limited
all
it
right
to the
the way it is.
120-acre lot, or whatever it is up there.
All about signs.
Because you've also fixed it so you can only have one.
Right.
What's the drinking age in Maine?
21. It's like nationwide now.
Yeah, is there a conflict between 18 and 21?
Well, 18 years old, technically you're allowed to see adult entertainment. And
Alright,
in some states, they actually, believe it or not, if they're nude, you're not allowed to serve alcohol. But if they wear bikinis, you're allowed to serve alcohol. I think that's like in California and a couple other
That's
places.
what they did in Bangor.
Was that what it was? I know, just kind of to discourage.
in my much younger days, when I was in the Navy, some of these places, their business is predicated on continuing to have a drink in front of you.
Right, so that's
where
why.
all the money's made. So
Right.
you get this three-year difference between 18 and the drinking age of 21.
Where do we put 21, 18? Okay.
18 years beyond the premises. Premises, right. So, I mean, that's a lot of.
Oh, well, you know what? This could be also, technically, there could be employees in there at 18 years old. Because they're probably going to have a liquor license for people who are patrons. But if you're 18, you could be like a dishwasher. You could probably dance.
Plus,
And
under,
wash dishes.
plus under the state of Maine ordinance, you can be in there until 5 o'clock at night.
Right. So this basically says you just can't go under it, go be in there if you're a teenager.
No issue there.
I mean, I hope we never even have to deal with this, so. Who knows? Could you do the regular check that we always had to do and make sure that 17 MRSA and 854 is still the right one?
Right.
On the,
Campgrounds?
right above the
Just
campgrounds.
just above the campground.
Oh, okay,
You just check the MRSA's would be great.
yeah.
Now,
Wait a minute, we say right
you
here.
said you can't even have alcoholic beverages.
I know, I'm just noticing that. You know, I think that that is somehow related. I think Paul is probably the only person in all of Clifton, when she wrote this, that knew that town of Clifton didn't have
No, I didn't know
that
that.
vote.
So
Yeah, just take credit for it, Paula.
Well, I'm still wanting to ask how you knew about the bikini and the knot.
Well, I have traveled around the United States a little bit in my time. So yeah, why did we say you can't drink in there?
Actually, I think it was Vassalboro. Remember on Route 3 down there, they opened up
Oh, that coffee shop.
that topless coffee shop.
Right.
That's what I think prompted this.
We could keep it in there. There's nothing wrong with saying you can't
Because
drink.
basically you made it impossible for
Yeah,
them
but
to
they're
post
gonna
it.
open up.
Yeah.
That's,
one
they
of
can't
those
sell
Which
it.
technically,
Yeah.
couldn't the town then get sued over
No, because he doesn't.
requirements?
No, because I think that one's a legitimate
This is what we were
requirement.
talking about last night.
Mhm.
5 pages of something, you get down to the last paragraph, and it just basically says, we're not gonna have one of these in town.
Because
Well, right now, technically, you can't do it in town anyway because you can't serve in town. You can sell alcohol in town, but technically, you can't serve in town, which is, I think we have to vote on it, have some hearings on it because of this whole thing with the Boy Scout camp. They want to have marriage parties, wedding parties over there.
Yeah.
And it turned out that because Clifton hadn't ever voted to issue alcohol licenses in town, they can't, on premises, they can't serve. So that's why we have to have this vote this spring for that. So technically, right now, they can't do it anyway.
We are having a vote?
I believe
Well,
so.
they're still, they need like 5 more signatures.
no, they
and
got
that's-
them all.
Oh, they finally got them
Yes.
all?
What, is it a potential business? Or is it-
No, it's the over the Boy Scout
Okay,
reservation.
so they're the ones who initiated the Boy Scouts.
Right, they want to lease out their building.
Make money,
What's-
pay off,
Spend in this world, Boy Scouts or promoting?
So they can get lost again.
Liquor by the drinks at the Boy Scout camp.
Alright.
Maybe the scout leaders need to
Well, actually,
do
it's
what
when,
it is.
Jeff's Catering usually is the one that they have come in.
Yeah.
So it's nothing that's there as much as it's brought in just for the parties.
Yeah, but no guest skater.
But they want to be able to have their own license on premise.
Okay.
So anyway, do we want to keep that or not? I mean, I don't care one way or the other.
I think you'll find, because if I remember correctly, Divas couldn't have a bar in the same location as the club was.
Oh, okay.
They had to have the bar separate than the club.
So we will just leave it as it is until somebody petitions us to change it.
Yeah.
Seems to have worked so far.
Yeah, we got so many of them out there.
Okay. Campgrounds and travel trailers.
My consensus whether we did that the state take care of most of that stuff.
That is, those
Yeah.
are the state standards, and we gave a waiver to Mike Lufkin.
Yeah.
Grandfather.
Extractive industries.
I'd have Frank in here to
I
talk
was
about
just
that.
not thinking about that. You know, in Clifton, this has never really been an issue, but apparently, and I didn't think it was an issue in Connecticut.
up there.
Now it's a big deal. There's even signs on the way in on Route 9 that say no quarry or something like that.
No quarry, that's it. Red and white.
Yeah.
That's tomorrow.
Well, this is, most of Clifton's tax revenue right now is gravel pits, so I think we ought to leave it.
Yeah, I mean. We need to definitely go through. Can you see Title 38, Section 490? I think it's going to be the right. 38 is definitely the environmental, but I don't know if Section 490 is correct or not. in A, 14.3.0A,
You already remember it?
right there.
Oh, okay.
You just check that. Yeah. We haven't had anybody come in and wanna open a new gravel pit since we started this ordinance.
It's not that we know of.
Yeah.
Well, they opened the pit, they didn't. So one of the things is actually, coming down here, it says renewal. We never really, we talked about it quite a bit, as far as getting people who are in there licensed, but we never really kind of made a sort of solid commitment on it. I mean, I suppose technically, if we would have gone out and forced people to get their businesses quote unquote licensed, then what would have happened is we'd be under permit renewal.
I don't think there are any licensed ones.
No,
We never issued it.
No.
no, but we talked about it.
Yeah, I know you did. You give them a freebie and then they're on
Right.
record of having a license.
I mean, at some point, we could get some direction from the select board.
How they want to
See
go
if
about
they,
it.
yeah, well, how would they like to get handled? Do we identify them and then send out a letter?
Well, technically, I think that's the select board's duty to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too.
We're not really involved with enforcement.
Or the CEO maybe.
Mhm.
And I'm not sure that's even clear in this ordinance anywhere that you have to do it, if you already have one operating.
That's probably a,
That's why you need to give them a freebie. And they have.
Right, but then they're gonna go, no, they're gonna come back and see every year. Here's the junkyards, and I think you check junkyards before, Bill, 30A.
Yeah, I did check that.
Yeah, so we're good on that.
Is there a definition for junkyards anywhere, or what constitutes a junkyard?
Yeah, right there.
Last week, I sent out an email to everyone through the town office. Did you get it, Brian? I actually copied the MR,
Tomorrow, that's right.
I copied it, both.
Yeah, yes, I get that.
So maybe we need to go to Article 18 and make sure it's there, right?
The junkyard is defined in Title 30 MRSA Section 3752.
Okay.
That's how it's defined.
Oh, so okay, so it's in the back now.
Yeah, that's in,
Good deal.
as defined by that title.
Mobile home parks.
We still have one of those?
What's that?
Do we still have one of those in town?
Yeah, we do. It's pretty rough. Have you been back there?
I just heard that there was one.
Yeah, it's rough.
I took a drive
Back
partway
there.
down that road and I was thinking, you know what, I'm not sure if I can get out of here with a car, if I get down in here.
Oh,
Back in 2010, I was going door to door to get people to vote. I was wearing a pair of nice khakis and a pair of low quarter shoes. And it had been a little wet in the days prior. And I went back there and I skipped across some boards to get to some doors and knock on those doors. I tell you, that'll give you a little appreciation. There's people living in the back of some of those, they didn't have windows in them. I'm not kidding. They had sheets hanging in the windows. And that, you know, you've been back there, you know what I'm talking about. Pretty rough living back there.
Yeah, that's where a lot of the drug problems start. Or at least they used to.
Now, on this one, if we go to the existing non-conforming, it says within 12 months they've got to
Conform?
conform.
select board.
Where do you see that?
Yeah. Keep going. Yeah, that's
Who owns that, does anyone know?
I believe there's a house, as you go back into that mobile home park, there's a house on the left, I believe they own it. I don't know what their names are.
Well, we
Right.
looked at
It was on the right.
It's on the right, I believe, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't really remember off the top of my head, it could be. But I know it's like right at the end of the driveway. It might be the one on the right, I don't know.
Well, is it on the right or the left as you go?
Libby?
Yeah,
It was on the right, but he doesn't live there anymore. He lives in Eddington.
that's an
So, well, this is something, if we want to enforce it, the select board is gonna need to do something about it.
That same statement's also in
This does give the select board the legal
Really?
authority to
Gravel pits,
clean it up.
All right, well, it's on gravel pits too, so,
no sweating in
I mean, there is a record of the site plan that it was supposed to be, which never has happened. I mean, there is some document there that you can enforce if you want.
right. Well, it says it's gotta be in conformance with the standards for operational permitting, so,
Yeah, that's right, it is, on the extraction, same paragraph.
same paragraph. So, I mean, I guess
it's county,
the select board's gonna have to start to,
that's for them.
or else they can ask us to take this out of there too. They can always ask that. Telecommunications towers.
We sort of don't have, do we feel that we don't have to? I mean, from what?
No, the issue with the wind turbine is we didn't have the statement in there. We probably should have.
That we don't have to. It's positive we don't have to.
Well, this basically would end up falling under our general height.
Right. Well, it says here that you don't have to have height restrictions. I mean, I definitely think we need to look at that in other areas too, but that might make a difference.
Well, the thing is, depending on where they want to put it and how much area they're trying to cover. You know, the Midwest, their tower is 1,200 feet tall.
Really,
Yeah, I ran into something about one
that's
of
a
those.
freaking tall tower. I want to change light bulbs on
That
that
was a
place.
cell phone tower. You gotta remember, Black Cap, the original Channel 7 tower was 700 feet
Really?
before the ice took it down. How many people, you remember that? I took a ride up there, steel from the woods everywhere.
it. I remember that all too well.
At
Yeah.
what height do we require a hearing?
No, it's not, the height isn't what triggers the hearing. The hearing is triggered by whether we want to do it or not. See, it says public hearing.
Now, Vern, you got a satellite tower up near your property, right? Is that how you get,
It's up on Black Cat, I think. Up there.
oh, okay. So that's how you get your feeds on your internet feed?
Yes.
A radio tower. You get radio-free internet.
Yeah. Works good. It's quick and hardly ever loses.
Wow. So anyway,
We kind of agreed that FAA took care of any height.
yeah, that's a,
Well, you could easily have somebody wanting to put one up somewhere and local neighbors complaining, and then you'd have to say, what justification do you have for this particular height? That's open for us to do under Article 12.
right.
And say, how appropriate is this height? For what reason does it need to be 100, 200, 300, whatever? Justify it.
So here we don't require them to go back and get an operational permit. Just saying.
Oh,
Wait a minute, no, it says shall be subject to annual renewal.
Right, but the other ones would say that they
get a 12-month grace
They
period.
have 12-month grace period and they get going now. This one doesn't go back and retroactively make them do it.
Yeah.
Like the junkyard, we retroactively go back and make them do it.
And, Carroll Park.
Well, maybe we knew there were no telecommunication towers that we had in Woodville.
Well, we got the one up by,
I'll keep it out,
up
on
on
Chick Hill.
Chick Hill. Now, is that one in Clifton or is that just over the line into,
It's in Clifton,
okay.
that was a 300 foot.
Plus, you also got the weather tower right there on Route 9,
Oh, yeah.
meteorological tower,
The Met Tower,
yes.
off Route 180.
Right.
No, right down towards, is there one down towards, Amherst Aurora?
You're thinking of the cell phone tower at Beacon Mountain, aren't you?
No, I'm thinking about the one that's, I'm thinking another one down by.
I don't remember seeing
No,
it.
I don't remember seeing a tower out there. The Amherst Town line is just down by the Hopkins Pond Road.
Yeah,
It's before that? I don't think so.
Well, there's a little one right on top of the hill up there, that's just a little, meteorological tower, yeah, for the state.
okay.
They put in after the year that they didn't plow the road and it was so icy, it took 6 hours for us sitting on top of that hill.
Oh,
But
they,
you couldn't even walk on the road.
yeah, no, I didn't realize the state's the one that put that one in.
Yeah. Supposedly, I guess, so they could let Eddington know when it's snowing, although they had no problem over in Amherst and Aurora.
All right, I accidentally, looks like I deleted small wind energy systems from there, and then somehow got misnumbered their letters, but I'll be redoing that anyway. So this is for, basically this next one is for small wind energy systems, so it would be like a residential type of operating system.
Yeah.
And it's an accessory use for a house or a business.
Yeah, although when you get up to 100 kilowatts, that's pretty good size.
No, it's not really. 100 kW is like enough to run your house. Like I have a 100 kW generator for my house.
It's pretty expensive, I think.
Excuse me, 10 kW is what I meant. It says 10 kW right here, right?
Yeah. That's pretty standard.
Right, so if you have a 10, okay, all right, you're right. So this could be, theoretically, now that I read this again, you're right, Bruce.
I mean, that's getting up into what they would call a medium size. I'm not sure how big the turbine would be for 100 kilowatt. It's not huge.
Right.
It's the size that somebody might put up for a small business.
Right, you're right. I was a magnitude of 10 off. My house generates a 10 kW, and so this basically says if you have a 10 kW one, you could put a 10 kW generator, 10 kW wind turbine up at your house, and you don't need a permit. That's what this says.
Just for comparison, there's a wind turbine in Bush's compound down in Cape Court. I don't know if you've seen it.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
What size would that be?
I have no idea.
Just trying to get a sense of.
It's a great question. I have no idea. Well, there's another one on the highway in Fairfield, over by Central Maine Power. You know the Central Maine Power training area in Fairfield
No.
on Route 95.
Okay, I may have just missed it.
If you're coming north on Route 95, it's especially obvious. Matter of fact, I think it's definitely, if you look at the props, it's definitely a stall technology, stall control prop.
Most of the small ones are.
Okay, and it's got bright black, they're bright black props, and it seems like when I'm coming home from Augusta, it usually happens to be in the middle of the afternoon, and if you stared at it, it's definitely strobing because of the way the light hits it and it's black. I mean, it's just, it is, if you ever wanted to go show somebody what flicker could look like, okay, that's flicker.
Flicker or is that glint?
Yeah.
well, maybe it's glint, okay, but it's,
If you're coming north, that would be Glint.
yeah, but this is because it's tilted towards the west.
Mhm.
Because don't forget, that's where the highway starts to kind of go sort of easterly, northeasterly,
Yeah.
if you're in the southbound lane, or northbound lane. So anyway, it's, whatever it is, okay, whether it's glint or flicker, okay, all I know is that when you look at it, you're definitely getting a strobe effect. It's like looking at it, being in a room at night with a strobe light on. So it's, but it's got flat, black props.
Yeah. Well, you know, there was the one on the way down to Blue Hill, although they've taken that one down, I believe. It didn't run for years.
Oh, at Merrill Blueberry Farms.
Yeah, I'm guessing that that would have been
They tried to sell it.
probably around 100 kilowatt just from the
Yeah,
size of
that's,
it.
yeah, that was good size.
Yeah, this is definitely bigger than a residence,
Mm-hmm.
the one in Fairfield. But it's not like obviously an industrial one. So anyways, I mean, we want to keep it so that if you have a 10 kW at your house, you don't need a permit.
Yeah.
There. Okay. I'm not far enough down here. Oh, yeah. A 10K is a very small one.
Right.
I mean, would that constitute like a 20-foot tower or?
Oh, you still gotta, if they're gonna produce any power, you still gotta get them up above the trees. So you still need a 100-foot tower practically.
There's a lot of them up in Worcester County, on homesteads. there.
Really?
Yeah.
So these small wind energy systems, these 100 kW ones, the only sound requirement we have is that they can't go above 5 dBA.
Yeah.
Is that reasonable? Or should it be CDVC?
Those small ones, I don't know if they produce very much in you couldn't go over 5 dBc though, because you're gonna have higher sound anyway. The smaller they are, usually the more it's weighted towards the higher frequencies. If you're limiting it to 5 at the property line, I would be very surprised if there's gonna be a problem.
Yeah.
The biggest problem will probably be if they can keep it to 5. Some of those little things, when the wind is blowing, sound like a little buzzsaw.
I don't know. That's why I'm asking.
That'll be their problem if their neighbor complains.
Right, but I mean, we could, in theory, did we say anywhere in here how many of them could be set up?
No,
No.
So, I mean, I guess, looking at this and looking at all the stuff that has been discussed on these things, I'm just thinking, what if somebody came up and wanted to put up, well, I guess the whole system would have to be, are we saying that each tower was under, and where is the 100 kW part written down?
You wiped it out, it's in the definitions.
Okay, it's in 18,
Well, it probably is now, but I mean, it was originally.
let me see what I have there.
It was in the definitions.
Okay, probably.
Yeah, you just moved it into definitions.
Yeah, okay, let me read it, make sure of that. Okay, so are we only allowing like one tower at 100
We
kW?
don't have anything in there.
All right, this one says a small wind energy system consisting of a wind turbine, a tower, and associated control. So it sounds like it's only 100 kW, so we're not really in danger of somebody coming in and setting up 10 100 kW towers and trying to say have a small wind energy
yeah,
system.
well, we've got to say one on there.
That's what it says, it says a wind turbine.
That's where you're going.
I don't think you're gonna worry about somebody trying to set 10 of those up, because they are such a financial loss loser. Somebody's gonna try doing that.
Right.
I think we do.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
I did the financial calculations based on what somebody gave for a price on those at one point and how much power they produced. And the payback period was like 35 years, and it was guaranteed supposedly for 20. And after that, they got about half the power they'd been told by the seller that they were gonna get.
Oops.
In fact, they said, "Ooh, you're getting that much out of it? You're doing good."
Oops. So,
Funny.
all right. That was that then. In these Met Towers, where?
That's it, until we get to the.
That's pretty, there you go.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay,
This
hold
is
on.
all industrial, the appendix. and
Yeah, but wasn't, where's the,
That's the end of this.
Yeah,
all right,
into 14, you wanna put in the marijuana thing right now.
right, okay. Here is brewer's ordinance. See what I was saying about this numbering system? So, I mean, if you want this, you better tell me like in the next like 2 weeks, because I'm not changing it after that. They have this style, so you can just kind of buzz down through it, and a lot of the towns have like that
I like
style.
our system better because you can keep indenting it if you need to.
Okay, so I'm just showing you what they do, just so you know.
Yeah, and even then they end up.
And Holden does it this way, and lots of towns do it that way. So we go back and get the right section. I think it, oops. Table of contents, we can now find it. Write it down. You see marijuana or whatever written in the table of contents, sound off. There it is.
438.
438, so it's in,
We're also gonna discuss narcotics treatment as well, methadone clinics.
yeah, that's what I was thinking.
437.
You could simply say, you don't have to know, oh, you know something?
Can we
You
do that?
couldn't have an adult business, well, maybe you could. Is it 1,500 feet from this lot out here to the church in Eddington?
It probably is.
Oh, yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, probably. I think we should make it 5,000 feet for an methadone clinic.
Yeah, there you go.
Scare that. Or make it 10,000.
I think they tried to do that in Brewer initially for the adult entertainment thing, and there's like a law firm that goes around the United States, and it's a First Amendment law firm, and they specialize in going after towns that do that just because they can. So that's how they ended up having to make this rule. So basically they have their permits and stuff for like the regular site plan stuff is up in 8A, so that's kind of that other stuff, you know, above and beyond this. Now the only thing that I could think of to be added on to this, and I don't know if you wanted to think like this far ahead, but I mean, I don't know if you wanted to even add in there medical marijuana, and then, you know, and commercial marijuana dispensaries, you know, if allowed by law. If you wanted to even add that into this whole thing and block it all together, I don't know if it's even worth the effort. I mean, we probably would have enough advance notice if that was gonna come, that we could convene, come in and do what we needed to do. But you see what I'm saying?
For what again?
Because this only covers medical marijuana. Like out in Colorado, they legalized selling marijuana at certain stores. So we could add in here commercial marijuana if allowed by, if allowed by law, or by state law. And then the rest of this stuff, and block it all together. Or we could just not include it all, only cover the stuff that we're currently allowed to do, like the narcotics treatment facilities and medical marijuana stuff. This is stuff that you're already allowed to do in Maine.
But if you add that in, then we don't have to worry about it in the future, because I see it being legalized, period.
Well, I do too, but so the question would be, I believe if that was going to happen, you would have plenty of advance notice that was gonna happen. So you could
Take a look at the time frame it takes us to get something done, because of all.
I know, I'm just trying to put both sides out, because I actually kind of agree with that, but the other side of it is, just to kind of finish the thought process here, you could convene, have the planning board sit down and create the rule in the future, you know, when you thought you needed it, and do it quote unquote just in time, or you could just add it in here now.
Well, if you added it in here now, what happens if the state, if they approve it, put in certain conditions that you then have to factor into your,
Then we can make
then you
changes.
still have to
We-
amend it.
Yes,
So-
but we've got time then, and you've got something that covers you. Meanwhile, because it could take a couple of months or 3 or 4 months to actually.
I would think you'd have a year to get that done. I mean, that's not gonna happen.
Overnight.
No, not.
That would be my gut
They
reaction.
gotta get a petition maybe, and somebody's gonna start the wheels going, and. Yes.
I'll look at it this way. New Hampshire's already legalized it.
What else does it say on?
Okay, well, we'll go through it, you can think about it while we're doing it, whether we should do it or not, and then when we get done doing it, we can decide whether we wanna add one clause to it. I mean, I can see advantages and disadvantages either way, but I just wanted you to think about it while we're doing it. So, basically, this, it kind of just covers what your building sizes need to be. It talks about the same sort of things that we talk about for schools. I mean, they have it 1,000 feet, you know, we had 1,500 feet for the, adult business. I mean, we could just go be 1,000 feet. We don't let them be co-located with a methadone clinic. Because don't forget, I mean, the methadone clinic is to treat, you know, drug addicts, and the marijuana facility, medical marijuana, is theoretically designed to help people who are sick from some other disease, not their drug illness.
Do we want to confine it to just one GMA area in the town?
I mean, we could. The only thing is with, I mean, I don't really feel that sorry for methadone addicts, to be honest with you, but I do know some doctors who believe that the medical marijuana is helpful and beneficial for people, especially at end of life cases. Okay, and so what I'd like to avoid, even though, you know, I've got some opinions about how some of the stuff goes down, you know,